There is so much to talk about here concerning Nebraska football, recruiting in particular, of course. You just hang tight. We're going to go full throttle for the next hour or more. Who knows? Got Greg Peterson on the line, of course, who makes it all go from Husker Online, talking Nebraska for our 22nd time live here on Tuesday nights, 8 o'clock Eastern, 7 Central. So please lock it in, mark it on your calendar. Greg, how are we doing tonight?
Oh, doing great, Mark. Actually, I thought it was the 23rd episode, but okay, my bad. But hey, here in the state of Nebraska, life is great right now. Besides all the Nebraska football news, just 45 minutes down the street, you got down the interstate, 45 minutes away, you got the College World Series going on in full swing, and the U.S. Olympic swim trials just ended there too in Omaha. So yeah, the state of Nebraska couldn't be happier right now. So, and you can tell by me, I'm happy too.
Folks, you know what the deal is. Please leave your comments, your questions, your debate topics, anything there in the live chat. We will get to you and get to as many questions as possible. Also, consider the super chat contribution as well. Please share these videos out on social media. So let people know that we're here every Tuesday night talking Nebraska football with all of you. All right. You mentioned it just a couple minutes ago. We were trying to figure out the best way to sort through all this information. Let's take it on through all the camps and the timeline throughout the week, and I will just cut you loose and let you go.
Well, I guess, since the last time we talked, I went out. I had to hit the road on Wednesday to Kearney, Nebraska for the Big Red Blitz tour, where they had all the Nebraska personnel, all the coaching staffs for every sport basically out covering the state. And we went to Kearney, Nebraska, about a 2-hour drive west out on I-80 to see Scott Frost. And we got some personal time there with Coach Frost, and we learned a lot. I think that one of the biggest takeaways is that most recruiting fans, if they're not aware of, with the numbers of young guys that have an extra year all of a sudden because of the COVID, you can't expect Nebraska to take more than about 14 or 15 kids in this class, in this 2022 class. So spots are limited, and you have to emphasize that, and that means a lot for guys that have had visits and guys that have visits planned. When you only have maybe one spot at your position that they're taking. So I think obviously after the weekend with the recent commits, that those guys know that, and they pulled the trigger when they did, because somebody else might take that spot right away. Another big takeaway from spending some time with Coach Frost is that this is we've kind of joked about it, and we've tweeted about how crazy this June has been. In my 20 years in the business, there's never been a month like this, and you're making up, and this is Coach Frost saying, we're making up for an entire year of recruiting in 1 month. And it's taken its toll on the coaching staff. Every Friday, they've had 80 individual workouts now that go on every Friday, and then host camps and all of that. So, the coaching staff needs to get a break here soon, which they will, and, kind of recharge those batteries, maybe, take their wives on a little vacation or something. Just step away from football for a little bit. So yeah, it's been a very, very crazy month. And when I say it, and I don't want recruiting fans to kind of cringe when I say they're only going to take 14 in this class. Every other school is pretty much in this same boat right now. Nobody's going to be signing 100% class this year, 75%, 80% maybe. Because you have a backlog of young, talented guys. Right now, you don't know what the super seniors are thinking right now. So yeah, there's just going to be a lot smaller classes this season, and those spots are just so coveted right now. Which like I mentioned, turned into some commits that came out over the weekend. Um, but we'll have to start first, obviously, on Friday. It was such a huge official visit weekend in Lincoln. They had a big barbecue on Saturday, or I mean, I'm sorry, on Friday afternoon with all the official visitors, and you actually had some other guys that were just official visitors, but then ended up wanting to work out later that night at the Friday Night Lights camp. So we got a chance to get our eyeballs on a lot of good looking young talent. But when you talk about that Friday Night Lights camp, it starts and it ends with 2024 quarterback Dylan Raiola, the performance that he put on. And if big time Husker, long time Husker fans will remember the name Raiola. His dad was an All-American center, Dominic Raiola, for the Huskers. Played a long time in the NFL. And Dylan came into Lincoln this weekend to check things out, already with an offer from Georgia and an offer from Washington State in his back pocket. And he put on the most phenomenal show that I have ever witnessed in 20 years in this business, of a young kid of that age with the kind of arm strength and the kind of accuracy that he put on. And if people want to, people go to a Husker Online video right here on YouTube. Go to our YouTube channel and check that out. He has got a cannon. I mean, oh my God! And he's got a Patrick Mahomes haircut to go along with it. So that got a lot of people excited. And we caught up with him afterwards, and obviously he's a Husker legacy, and he was blown away. Brian Munson, our recruiting analyst, talked to him just recently, and he just fell in love with everything and felt like he was at home here. And I, just being kind of funny, I just kind of tweeted out yesterday, I think it was, I said, hey, all of those 120 whatever D1 schools, if they don't offer this kid right now, I hope they have a really good plan B, because he's amazing. You got to check him out for yourself. So, I mean, he stole the show there on a Friday Night Lights camp. A couple of notable other, Nebraska 2023 tight end commit Benjamin Brommer was also there and looked the part. They had, it was kind of funny because most of the fans were all out in the stadium, but in the Hawk Center they had Raiola throwing balls to their elite group of wide receivers that they didn't have out there in front of everybody else in the stadium. And, Ben Brommer was one of those guys that is going to be an elite tight end already, that you can see that. And we have plenty of video of him also on our YouTube channel. And then another 2024 kid, Davion Hall, a Bellevue West kid, which we know, Xavier Betts, a school and one of the top programs right now here in the state. He had a nice showing as well, and my God, every time I see him, he's bigger and bigger. He now looks like a specimen, and he might end up being Xavier Betts size by the time he's all said and done here. So that it was a very interesting night. And then we had to turn around on Saturday morning, and the Adidas Pipeline Camp was here, the annual Adidas Pipeline Camp, which made its second stop here. Obviously, 2019 was the first one, and then there was a little hiccup there in 2020 where we didn't get to host that. But that was also great to see, and you see them. During that camp inside Memorial Stadium, they were marching out the new commits in their in their Nebraska jerseys and uniforms and their whole gear. And we saw Jake Applegate there, who's a local Southeast high school graduate or high school player here. He was up there throwing the bones, getting his picture taken, and that was cool. And take away from that, there was a big offensive center there that looked really, really good from Erie, Colorado, who has a Nebraska offer. What's his name? I got it right here. Oh boy! Now I'm dropping the ball. John Pastore. I'm sorry, John Pastore from Erie, Colorado. Really, really good looking guy. And you got to love a center that's 6'6", because Nebraska, I think, for a lot of years now, you haven't seen a really tall guy like that. Cam Jurgens, yes, is 6'5", so you're getting up there. But I like the way he moved, and a very solid looking player. I think my favorite guy that stuck out there on Saturday at the Pipeline Camp was Creighton Prep 2023 defensive tackle prospect Sam Sledge. He's a guy that I've seen before at camps. I've seen him play in person, but he just looked like the most polished guy out there, period. And the Nebraska coaching staff took a lot of interest in him, and I'm going to go out here right now and predict that he ends up with an offer for next year's class, because he worked really hard and really showed that he has all the moves. And even the thing that I think the most about Sam Sledge is that, okay, he's going to play defensive line at the next level, but he plays offensive line for his Creighton Prep Junior Jays. So he had enough reps there during O-line, D-line one-on-ones where he won every one of his reps, that he jumped around on the other side and started taking reps as an offensive lineman, just to help, hone those skills for his team for next season. Great kid. But then the most interesting guy I think I saw on Saturday is a 2024 prospect. He's from Brandon, South Dakota, Brandon Valley High School. His name is Navarro Schenke. He is the number 6 rated heavyweight wrestler in the country. He's already a 2-time state champion, because South Dakota allows 8th graders to participate. So, yeah, he's already been a 2-time state champion wrestler. Had a chance to talk to his dad for quite a while the camp was going on. He's got an older brother that plays college football already. And you can tell that this kid, he's got some work to do laterally and with footwork and everything. But you can tell that this kid has got a future, and I wouldn't doubt at all that Nebraska is going to offer him. So, yeah, I mean, it's just been a huge weekend, and we haven't even mentioned the 3 commits we got out of the weekend, plus the Richard Torres commitment that we got early last week. But 4 commits in 1 week, pretty good. Like we said, probably only taking 14 in this class, and it's half full already with 7 right now.
Appreciate everybody chiming in with a number of questions. We'll start rolling through the questions here, and then we'll get to some of the commits from this week. So we got Joe on the line. Appreciate you commenting here. Love this content. Thanks for all you guys do. Do you think Logan Smothers transfers if Harburg, I'm a little shy on the spelling too, I think there's a double A in there somewhere,
It is yep.
really doing as good as you're saying?
You know what? In this day and age, I wouldn't be surprised at all. I think Heinrich Harburg has come in and done much better, much quicker than anybody imagined that he would. And he's got a much bigger stature than Logan Smothers. That being said, Logan Smothers is still a guy that is very capable of winning the job and being Nebraska's starting quarterback. He's a very talented kid. He just needs to get some reps out there, some real game reps and stuff, and then we'll see. Obviously, that he's been in the program longer than Heinrich, but it's a competition, and all these guys that come in here and accept a scholarship to quarterback the Nebraska Huskers, they know what they're getting into. If you end up being the starting quarterback for this football team here that has the state's name behind it, you're probably the most important guy in the state of Nebraska behind probably Scott Frost.
Jalen Marshall is a top 50 to 100 defensive lineman out of St. Thomas Aquinas down in Florida, who just apparently took a visit, according to DJ, out to IU to visit the Hoosiers and Tom Allen. How good do you feel about his possibilities of coming to Nebraska?
Hey, you know what? Same kind of thing. He knows the deal. These guys are having to crunch in a bunch of official visits, probably a lot faster than they usually want to. So, hey, taking a visit to somewhere else that you're interested into shouldn't be a red flag anywhere. As far as I know, Nebraska is still right up there on the top of his list.
Zoom wants to see some 4-stars. Will Nebraska sign any this class?
Well, it'd be great, wouldn't it? But like we said, the numbers are limited right now. And, obviously we've talked a lot about recruiting at Nebraska and Scott Frost being on the hot seat. And bottom line is right now Nebraska's kind of recruiting at a 3-star rate. And, it looks nice and fancy when you get that number 19th spot or the number 20th spot in those recruiting rankings. But you got to understand how different, a top 8 or 9 ranking is to the 19th. And then from 19 to about 40 is about the same. So you got to win ball games. Bottom line, Scott Frost got to win ball games. Have a winning record this year, and you'll see those recruiting ranking commits go up. But they'll get a couple. They'll get a couple. They're not going to miss out on a couple of 4-stars that they really want.
Does my math make sense that if Nebraska and everybody else is going to be shy as many scholarships as you just outlined because of the super senior season, if 14 or 15 would have been 21, 22, something in that range, if we want to extrapolate that out to 130 FBS schools times roughly 7, the math's going to be off, but still, that's like 900 high school players who will not receive scholarships that would have received scholarships.
Yeah. Just look at, just think of what the JUCO, the talent's going to be in the JUCOs and guys maybe going to prep school and stuff this year. There's going to be such a shortage that, and it's not due to anything except the COVID pandemic that basically shut the sport down for a year and has to restart everything. So everybody's in the same boat. And you don't want to just push guys out of the door after they've, put a lot of effort and time into your program and stuff. And it's crazy. With everything going on with the name, image, and likeness, and the Supreme Court ruling on the NCAA, we have entered just the biggest different world of college football we've ever just started to see. And it's just starting. We've never seen anything like this, and it's just starting.
If there ever was a Notre Dame football fan's name, Patrick O'Doherty, right there, wants me to get a new Notre Dame helmet. So just be happy, Patrick, that I've got a Notre Dame helmet, number one. Number two, you can always hit me up at MarkRogersTV at Gmail. Just hit me up right there, and then I will let you know where you can send the helmet you want to purchase for me to put it up on the shelf.
You know what? Anybody can take a bottle of gold spray paint out and spray a helmet.
That's what they do.
Yeah.
Moonbot was asking about if we've got any updates on Marquis Steps progress coming back.
You know what? Haven't heard anything on him, and I have not laid eyeballs on him during either one of these Friday Night Light camps or the Pipeline camp. So that's a good question. I'm going to have to dig into that one.
Natural Bornsker is asking about facilities, and this is a judgment call on your part. It's impossible to measure, but if you think the facilities are having a large impact on recruiting.
Well, you know what? We've talked about this portal before. It's completely changed everything. Without any penalties of transfer and everything like that. Nebraska, if you don't pay attention to what Nebraska does, they're always out on the forefront of anything like this. They've got staff members completely. That's their job, is to monitor the portal. Actually, it's kind of funny that Scott Frost had joked with us in front of the audience listening to him when somebody asked him a question about the portal, and he actually had to bounce the question back to my boss, Sean Callahan, asking him how we know all this information before he does. So it was kind of funny. But, it's such a big thing nowadays, and, you lose some and you gain some, and it's just like, it's free agency in the NFL, basically. So, yeah, you definitely have to have somebody monitoring that and being on top of everything.
Nothing gets past Navy Thomas. So I was on Michigan Podcast today. I appear there every Tuesday on Michigan Podcast. And let's get this straight, Navy Thomas. It was Steve Dace at Michigan Podcast. He was giving me his coaches' rankings and wanting me to respond to them. I did not have Scott Frost ranked number 55 in the country among the coaches. That was his ranking. I was just commenting. So don't pin that on me. I did unleash my Big Ten coaches' rankings. I don't remember where I had Scott Frost 8th or 9th, something like that, if I remember correctly. But don't put that one on me, Tom. So that's not me. All right. Appreciate it, Mike, calling this the best show in college football. Thank you so much. And understand that this only rolls because of Greg's contribution here every week. So that is much appreciated. Hope everyone does appreciate that out there. Let's, as I scan more questions, let's go through the 3 commits from this week. Yeah. So we got the outside linebacker, Jake Applegate. Let's start with him.
Yeah, that was a no-brainer. I interviewed him last Tuesday and actually had to put an extra little video out after he committed with this little wink after my question or how his official visit went and his workout for the coaches. And man, he gave me a wink, and I knew it was coming. But no surprise. Jake's a heck of a player. If you're on YouTube, just Google his name and check out his junior season highlights that we have out there. He's going to play outside linebacker at the next level, but he's a heck of a wide receiver as well. He's a big-bodied kid. He can move. He's probably got the best highlight, I think, that the Husker Online cameras caught last season, where he caught a ball going over the middle against Omaha Creighton Prep and made a great fingertip catch and did about 3 spin moves in for a touchdown and great stuff. So, yeah, Jake, we thought, and I knew, I mentioned this on our Husker Online radio show last week, that it's just a matter of time. He knows the clock's ticking, and if he didn't pull the trigger now, that spot was going to get eaten up by somebody else. But he's going to be a great addition. I think we've mentioned before, too, that I think that it's almost up to 20 kids that Nebraska's offered Lincoln Southeast in the modern recruiting era. So that definitely leads the whole state in one school that gets Nebraska offers. We'll go back. We can move to Ashton Hayes. He's a running back commit out of Reno, Nevada. He came down and had his official visit a couple weeks ago and really fell in love with it. And I think, just like we've been mentioning, that Justin Williams was a 4-star running back commit that was number 1 on Nebraska's list. He's down at the 5-star challenge this week, the Rivals 5-star challenge in Atlanta this week, and did an interview and talked about the recent schools. And Mississippi State was one that he had just recently visited after he visited Nebraska. And I think Ashton Hayes just felt the pressure there and said, hey, you know what? I love Nebraska. I'm coming here. So that kind of wraps up the running back position there at Nebraska. And then you get another a big bodied wide receiver in Grant Page out of Boulder, Colorado, 6'3", 185, and another kid there that really had a really good official visit here a couple of weeks ago at Friday Night Lights, and decided that Nebraska is the place for him. So, and that kind of follows what we've been seeing with Nebraska recruiting that wide receiver spot anymore. It's not that small, fast little guy anymore. It's that 6'3" and bigger kind of kid that we're seeing that they covet nowadays. So it was a great weekend. And then we don't, I think we mentioned last week, I think Richard Torres had made his commitment last week. Then we talked about him, the big quarterback, the big 6'6" quarterback out of San Antonio, Texas, which wraps up the quarterback spot. So I think Nebraska still takes one more wide receiver. So there's another spot open there, but you can cancel quarterback and you can cancel running back off of that list. So Nebraska moves on from there.
Moostrick makes a bit of a comment here just in regards to the transition from high school football to college football. Part of it's mental, part of it's physical, and let Greg speak to this, and then I'll add my 2 cents about my thoughts. But Greg, of course, sees so much more in watching these athletes try to make that gigantic jump.
Hey, it's all mental, Mark. I see so many of these kids that come in so blessed physically, but if you don't get it, if you can't figure out the scheme, you're not any use. So yeah, you can look like Mr. America and be one of the best looking physical specimens out there. But yeah, if you don't get it upstairs, it's just not going to work out. And these are the guys that don't fit in, that are highly recruited, highly ranked, that come in and really don't fit into the place they thought they might fit into. The sad thing is that I see so many guys that come in that they look like $1 million, but they're not willing to put in the work and the effort. And if you're not willing to do that, sorry, there's not going to be a place for you on anybody's team.
And to a certain degree, I got to think like it's like anything else, that if you get off to a bad start, it's difficult to recover. So if you get behind, and you're already behind because you're a high school player trying to catch up and trying to, learn all this, and it's going 100 miles an hour compared to what you're used to. And if you get off to a bad start, then you lose some confidence. You're unsure of yourself, and you can't play football like that.
Yeah. No, it true. I mean, there's so many factors that go into that doesn't make. I mean, you might be a really good football player, but it's not your fit with all those factors that go on. And I mean, you do see a lot of guys that have to go to the JUCO rank, and sometimes that works out, sometimes it doesn't. But yeah, there's just so many different factors that go into that, and we could write a novel about that.
And as many people are commenting in the live chat, depends on position. Some positions are more difficult to learn than others. Some are more just based on athletic ability, and you don't really have to be in sync with as many people. Obviously, offensive line.
Right.
There's a lot to understand about how your position fits in with everybody else, and it has to be well orchestrated. And of course, quarterback. My goodness, you've got to kind of take responsibility for everybody at the same time.
And there's also something else to consider when you're talking about the University of Nebraska. And Coach Frost talked about this last week. Is that the graduation rate on the football team is 96%. So if that tells you anything right there.
Got Nebraska Talk here for you each and every Tuesday night, 8 o'clock Eastern, 7 Central. So please find us here. A lot of people commenting in the live chat that they're finding us and being able to join the live stream for the first time. So that's good to know. But even if you can't make the live stream on a particular Tuesday night, of course, the video posts and you can watch it at any time. And please let others know that we are right here. So we've made it through 3 weekends in June. We're coming up on the last one. And what should be the highlights coming up this week?
Well, they're still rolling through official visitors coming in and out. We're still working to figure out who all those official visitors are. We have confirmed a couple already, but the individual workouts still keep going on every Friday, and the coaching staff is staying vigilant. Unfortunately, I don't have any camps to go out and cover this week, so I guess we'll just have to sit back and see what develops. But it's just been a crazy month, and I think the next step is July 1st. We all expect for the name, image, and likeness, the NIL, to take effect here, and a lot of things will start happening then as well.
I had a conversation about this with a few callers last night, that it's one thing to sit here and say these athletes are contributing to this huge revenue that's being brought into college football. So I totally agree. Somebody brought it up to me last night, and they asked me when I first thought of it or it first crossed my mind. And I said, well, when the whole Johnny Manziel thing came down, when he got suspended for the first half of the first game of the season after his Heisman season, that was back in 2013. I started posting videos saying that these guys need to benefit from this. I thought of it a whole different way at that time. But, this has been talked about for even way before that.
I mean, Sam Keller, former Nebraska quarterback.
Yeah.
Arizona State, Sam Keller, who transferred to Nebraska. He was a big guy that had a lawsuit out there going after that NIL.
So I think most of us agree that they deserve a share of the pie, but to work through all of that, it's a slippery slope that's going to have to be dealt with on so many different legal levels, revenue levels, trying to make sure that people aren't getting into this that aren't supposed to be involved, that don't have the best intention for anybody, especially the athletes. There's a lot to consider here. I do not envy anybody who's going to be organizing this.
No, and right now I probably know more than most people should know about kind of the way it's going to start working out. There's really coaches are not involved in any way in this. The student athlete has to go to compliance and tell them what they're doing, and basically that's it. And the company, the restaurant or the car dealership, anybody that's using you as an advertising, say for instance like a podcast or radio show or something like that, that money does not go through a middle person. It goes right to the student athlete, and the student athlete will have to sign a 1099. It's actually, the thing that's cool about it is Nebraska is ready for this starting July 1st. Several student athletes have already got the ball rolling and everything. So the question comes after that is how do how do you regulate it all? So yeah, we're on a slippery slope with all of that, but it's happening. It's going to start happening right away. And you know what? We've heard for years and years that there's always that argument that do student athletes actually get paid or no? Does that scholarship equal pay? I mean, we know how much that scholarship is worth. But you know how much money the universities make off of these athletes with their NIL. It's millions, it's billions of dollars. You know, so it's finally going to start letting those athletes start to get to share in that. But like I said, it's going to be weird how we go about it in the future and try to regulate things and try to keep things on an equal playing field for every school. And I think then you add on with the Supreme Court ruling that we just had come down that you know, the NCAA is probably on its way out because any more lawsuits that come against the NCAA over any of this, they're going to lose. And yeah, it's just crazy. I mean, everything's changed, and it's you know, I think college football now is it benefits the fans the most, and it benefits the athletes. So it's great, if you ask me. I love all these changes that we're seeing, and plus we got the 12-team playoff as well.
I agree with you. I don't like every little specific tidbit about it, but overall 90-some% positive, going in the right direction of what needs to happen in this day and age and what needs to happen to benefit the athlete, because they lay a whole lot on the line. And I have always felt as though they do receive an income to a certain extent because the college education is worth a whole lot, but they are contributing so much to where it was always unfair. I think anyone would agree. Most people agree that it was unfair that they couldn't go out there and earn extra income like anybody else on scholarship. The science major who has a full ride, but also can go out there and get a job. Well, they're working a job. They put in just ridiculous amounts of time. And
of course, too, I think the thing that helps out a lot with this recent Supreme Court ruling is that that's going to help out those student athletes that are not the high profile ones, that are not getting anything from the NIL. You know, basically they're being granted the increased benefits and some extra money, and you know, the universities will work a way around for this to let all those athletes benefit from all of this. So it's a win-win, I think, for every student athlete out there, every potential student athlete out there. And you know what? It might give some kids more incentive to stay in college as well. So I like it. I like it.
Back to the football field, D-Rock Irish. And before I serve this up for Greg, I'll just say, for example, I know that Dan Mullen in Florida has been very out front about saying, you know, we got to a point last season where we didn't even trust running the football. We gave up running the football. We had Kyle Trask. We had elite receivers led by Kyle Pitts. We just threw the ball, and we would run the ball just to do it once in a while. But basically we abandoned the run, and he's flipping the offense to where he wants to go like 60-40, 65-35 run this year. But for most teams, they want to be balanced. So that means pretty much 50-50. So do you have any idea where Nebraska stands on that scale?
Well, you got to be 60-40, like D-Rock is saying. Yeah, I was agreeing with that. I think the whole time there. Maybe even a little bit more, I think, to establish, you got to establish that identity that you're not going to be that crazy, run all kinds of weird extra mojo stuff. And, you know, and that's where Nebraska's been, that's been their problem. They just can't do that. And yes, you have to establish that run game. And we've talked a lot about the running back room here, which is the most talented running back room that I've seen here in a long time. And on top of that, the most talented wide receiver room I've seen here ever. So yeah, you're going to establish that run first, and then you're going to stick them with a couple of studs like Omar Manning and Samari Torre, and throw in a little Oliver Martin in there. So yeah, 60-40 to me is a perfect ratio for what Nebraska needs to do this year to be successful.
Seiler is asking, what area of the team do you think has improved the most, including Adrian Martinez's own individual improvement?
I go offensive line. If you're going to ask me what position group, I think the offensive line they scare me. They look really, really good. And on top of that, you know what? Adrian Martinez has looked the best that we've seen him since he was a freshman. So there's a lot to be excited about. But I think that you start with that offensive line, and with their success, then the team's success will just get that much better. And you're going to see a lot different offense like that. Like I said, a team that can establish that ground attack, and then you have those weapons to throw to. And we keep forgetting to mention that the monster tight ends that they have as well to throw to. So, yeah, I think everybody should expect to see a much more physical, dominating type of an offense. And as long as they can, limit those turnovers, it should be pretty pleasurable for Husker fans to watch.
Zoom is asking about an audio podcast, meaning what we're doing right here on video, whether that could be downloaded to audio. So I will let you know that I do have an audio podcast, technically speaking. So you can just go to Spotify or Google Play, Apple Music, any of those, Stitcher, and search the Voice of College Football. The deal is that it's somewhat on the back burner. So I upload occasionally. I will attempt, I'm not going to promise anything, to make it a priority to take these sessions each week and upload those as audio podcasts as well right there. Just trying to keep up with my 22 YouTube channels and everything we need to do to build those out. The audio has kind of gone astray for me a little bit here, but I can attempt to remember to do that, because it's not a huge undertaking just to strip the video and post the audio podcasts.
Only that many hours in the day available for that.
Absolutely. Oh my goodness. All right. Let's see where we stand here. I want to remind everyone that you can contribute here on the Super Chat. You can also go to Venmo, PayPal, and Cash App. And if you search Mark Rogers TV, again, Venmo, PayPal, and Cash App, and you want to contribute to this specific show, just say Nebraska, just notate that in particular. And again, get some other folks in here on Tuesday nights at 7 Central. What else we got that we haven't hit on yet?
Boy, I don't know. I just can't go on and on enough about Dylan Raiola, that's for sure. But no, a couple of notable official visitors from the weekend that I would probably expect that could be the next possible commits. You actually saw them getting their photographs taken too in all the Nebraska gear, and they always put that gear on with whatever player's number that they wear for their high school team. But Nathan Vale is a very interesting prospect. He's a big 6'1", 185-pound safety from Kennesaw, Georgia, and he had a great visit. He called it, his visit was a 10 on a scale of 10, and was pretty much blown away. And he's a good-looking prospect, and like I said, I wouldn't doubt that he would pull the trigger here soon. But another one, and a very interesting one, is James Mond III. He's a Husker legacy. He's from Fort Pierce, Florida. He's a corner, and he was here with his uncle that played at Nebraska, and he was blown away. So that's another guy to keep your eye on too. And these are both 2022 guys. Obviously, these were official visitors. So if you're looking at a couple of your DB spots to fill up here, these are two guys that I wouldn't be surprised if they end up as Huskers, because once you get out and you get to hang out with Travis Fisher, the DB coach at Nebraska here, and all you gotta do is spend a couple of minutes with Travis, and you love that guy. So yeah, he's always he's got it going on.
So great to reference what Mustrick is bringing up here with 14 or 15 scholarships, and we've got 3 commits this week: outside linebacker, a wide receiver, a running back. How many commits do we have at this point? Hard commits.
There's seven, right?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So we've got about half the class in at this point if we've got no flips. How do you see the rest of the breakdown in regards to what positions are going to be hit?
You're looking at probably 2 offensive linemen. I can't really break down if it would be a tackle or guard or center. I think they just have they're going to take whoever they like the best. And then, linebackers, they've already got 2 linebackers, and they're both local guys, and Ernest Hausman and then Jake Applegate. I think they're looking at another couple of linebacker spots to fill up, and a couple more corner spots and a safety, and anything that you can clean up with on the defensive line. So that's pretty much that's going to fill it out for right now. So
we've got Zoom asking about Justin Williams out of Dallas, Georgia, running back, and of course Hayes just committed. So your thoughts about Justin Williams?
Yeah, we touched on him a little bit earlier in the show. He was down in Atlanta at the Rivals 5-Star Challenge this week. And, he had a great visit when he was down here for the first Friday Night Lights camp. And Nebraska was number 1 on his list. But then he took a visit to Mississippi State. And, one of our national analysts, Adam Gorney, had a chance to interview Justin down there outside of the hotel in Atlanta. Sounded like Ryan Held jumped on a motorcycle and took off after the interview was over. But it sounded to me like Nebraska wasn't his favorite anymore, and Ashton Hayes pulled the trigger. He saw that the opportunity was there, so he pulled the trigger. And I highly doubt that even if Justin would call Ryan Held and Scott Frost tomorrow, that they've already filled up that position. That's the way recruiting is going this season.
Folks, when you shop Amazon, please use the link that we provide in the description section, because you might as well. It's the same shopping experience. It doesn't change in any way. Doesn't cost you a penny. Same shopping experience. So please put the link somewhere where you can find it when you're ready to shop on Amazon. And as is always the case, we've got the most people online right now than we have had the entire hour. So it takes most of you a long time to get in here, which we appreciate you being in here. So I'm not scolding you, but just keep in mind that it's 7 Central, 8 Eastern every Tuesday, because it takes us a while to get rolling. And it seems like most of the people filter in here in the last 10 or 15 minutes every week. So we've got more than 70 on the line. That's the most we've had on the line the entire hour. And so you've missed all the analysis.
That's all right. They can ask questions again.
So you've missed the analysis.
Dinner, NBA draft lottery just got over with. There you go.
We're gonna break down the NBA draft lottery?
I don't think so. No.
I'm not one to do that. It's been a long time since I followed the NBA that closely.
Yeah.
We've got Nintendo 1998. Nebraska's got a lot of running backs on the roster. Any idea who will be the starter at this point?
Well, we've talked a lot about that there, Nintendo. I hope he's Super Nintendo, but I've got 3 guys slated right now that there's a battle going on, and that's Marcus Scott, that's Gabe Irvin, and that is our favorite guy to ever wear a Nebraska uniform so far, in Mr. Yant. So or Mr. Yant. So right now, I think if I had to say day one, it's Marvin Scott. He showed us the most last year. He was the most durable guy, and but like I said, your freshman Gabe Urban really looked good. And I think he had the best spring camp of any Husker running back, and we're talking about guys that were there and healthy and available the whole time too. So then Jaquez Yant, you know what? I mean, this guy, I think every Husker fan that has laid eyeballs on this guy or watched any video is pulling for him to win the starting job. And then a guy that, we were asked about earlier, Marquis Steptoe. Unfortunately, we haven't get a chance to see him because he was out all spring. A guy that's played a lot of football at USC. So there's a lot of guys to go around, and those are my favorites right there. And we're not going to know who the starter is going to be until fall camp, but I suspect that you're going to see 3 or 4 guys, possibly 5 guys, carry the ball a lot for Nebraska this year, because I think they're going to emphasize the run game a lot more than they have, and they're going to rotate healthy bodies in and out, and same thing with the offensive line. So we'll see how it comes out there as fall camp gets underway.
And did I get this straight with, let's see, Jordan Westerkamp, Riley, Pearson L., Kenny Bell, J.D. Spielman, all these guys in the last 5, 6, 7, 8 years? You said that there's more talent in this wide receiver room than at any time that you've seen it.
Quincy and Unwin, don't forget them.
There you
go. Yeah, absolutely. Because we're a lot of those, when you're talking about that, you were talking about maybe one guy on the team at that particular time, at least one go-to guy. But right now, just with the size and the athleticism, the speed, the hands, I've never seen a collective group like this. And I'm not even talking about the first 4 or 5 guys. I go deep down there to probably guys that you don't want to hear about, like a Wyatt Luer and stuff like that. That, I mean, all these guys can play at a high level, and I just think that when you look at that starting lineup, if everybody's healthy and you see an Omar Manning and a Samari Torre, you got 2 NFL booking wide receivers going at it. No brainer. So yeah, it's an impressive looking group that I've never seen anything collectively like this ever at Nebraska, even when I was growing up, just as a fan.
I shouldn't even entertain that comment, but basically what the deal is that I've got a guy that I do an NFL segment with, so I clear the college helmets off the shelf. That's what that is, if you must know. It's hilarious what people interpret, that they just always have to have some type of reasoning as to why everything's done.
I mean, I could put a shelf up there on my wall behind me and put some helmets up there if he really wants to.
Good stuff. All right. We got Nebraska fans just want to see Omar Manning on the field, let alone get him 1,000 yards.
Yeah. I just saw that comment, too, about Grant Page there. Yeah, he is from Kenny Bell's high school there in Boulder, Colorado, and he's got a lot of similarities to old Kenny. I think he's still got a lot of work to do on his hair if he wants to be like Kenny Bell. But yeah, we'll love having him here. Oh yeah, and yeah, DeMornay just got inked the other day. I saw that as well. So yep.
All right, folks, I hope you appreciate the effort we get from Greg Peterson here every week on Husker Online. Join him, of course, on Husker Online, but also, as we talk about each and every week, you can go directly right here on YouTube to just Husker Online, and the amount of material that you're going to find there. I'll let Greg outline that here, just in regards to what you're going to find on Husker Online right here on YouTube.
Oh God, just on YouTube, you're going to see all the videos that we get out and we cover more than anybody else does. There's nobody else that covers Nebraska football recruiting like we do. And obviously, the YouTube channel is a big part of that. Husker Online Video, they're on YouTube, and we always encourage you to go over to the main site, HuskerOnline.com, and like I said, we got the best in the business doing it, and we've got the best and the most up to date information that you're ever going to find. So join on in.
78 on the line. So most of you have missed most of this analysis. So just wait for the video to post here in the next 15 minutes, and you can check out the entire show. But be sure to be on time. Hopefully next Tuesday night. I know we may have some scheduling issues, but anyway, we're here every Tuesday at 7 o'clock Central Time, 8 o'clock Eastern. So lock it in and bring some more people with you as we continue to grow here. Greg, it's always a good time. I appreciate it. You know that. And we'll get together next week.
Sounds good. Can't wait.